Give thanks and eyes unto the Most High Jah, Rastafari, King Selassie I, Emperor of Ethiopia, Giant King, Zaiman Emmanuel the Nyabingi. So I'd like to speak with you today with regards white privilege. It's something that's going around a lot of late. And I don't know that everybody understands what white privilege is. So I come to give you an example of white privilege, a personal example also. So basically, I'm from London, and about 11 years ago now, I came to live in Corby, which is a borough of Northamptonshire. The only reason I did is that I couldn't afford to buy anything in London, and neither could I get a mortgage because I was self-employed and single. So I came to Corby and bought a terraced house, semi-detached, ex-council house. So my next door neighbour, when I moved in, was a single guy, white guy, who was getting over a breakup and stuff, and he was pretty dysfunctional, made a whole heap of noise and stuff, but as we do as black people and as Rasta people, you know, I didn't complain, you know, and I would never call the feds about anything. So I just make him go on. And to be fair, he wasn't an offensive guy. He was just dysfunctional. Anyway, in the end, he decided to dig up and start a new life somewhere else, and he went. So he was replaced by this couple who had a couple of kids. I'm not sure both of them were theirs, but anyway. So from they moved in, they were proper dysfunctional, bare arguing, fights, shouting and screaming at the kids. Feds come in quite regularly. I even had the feds knock on my door asking if I knew anything about what went on next door, to which I said no. And, you know, this went on for a while. Anyway, it culminated in a big disturbance where again the feds were called. I wasn't here at the time, I was in London working. And the woman and her partner were charged with abusing one of the children, and the male partner, was charged with assaulting his female. So she disappeared for a while, and when I say a while, I mean a few months, and I know social services took her kids away, so I presume that she went away for it and was convicted for it, and eventually she came back. When she came back, she wasted no time in getting another partner, not the same guy that assaulted her, and two twos, they had two kids and stuff. Anyway, the same shit continued, shouting at the kids, what kids they were there, but they weren't all there. Some were still in social services care. Yeah, and assaults as well. Again, all through that, I didn't complain. I didn't ever call the feds or whatever. I just did my own thing in my house. So a few years down the road now, like this couple, they've had more kids, and eventually the child that she abused was given back to her as well by social services in their wisdom, you know. And they've been like, they have improved in terms of their relationship and the way they live. They're still like pretty dysfunctional, and dirty and untidy, but they have improved in terms like they look after their garden a bit better, and you know, their kids don't seem too bad, even though they do still scream and shout at them at times. Anyway, all of a sudden, all throughout the time that this woman was with her two partners and abusing children and having fights with her partners and kicking up noise and being totally antisocial in terms of like her front and back garden, which was just like a jungle. All throughout that time, I allowed them, never said anything. And then now that they kind of got themselves together a bit, the guy started knocking on my door complaining about me playing my music too loud. Now I know, you know, what you bougie characters are going to say, yeah, typical Rasta man playing his music too loud, inconsiderate, whatever, right? End of the day, you know, I play my music and that's that. So, yeah, he started knocking on my door and stuff and rare. Um, Half the time I wasn't even playing music, I was watching a video. But because I have a 5 to 1 sort of surround sound system, it comes over loud. Anyway, the last time that the guy came round to complain, it was late. It was gone 12 midnight. And you don't knock on people's doors at that time, least of all black people, to complain about noise. Anyway, he did, and I had all my children here, funnily enough, and we were watching a video, and he came round saying that I'm playing music too loud, and he's trying to get his kid to sleep, and rare. So I told him, number one, I ain't playing music, right? And number two, don't come knock on my door again, because I will do you something. And I started to walk towards him in a threatening manner. And he jumped the fence back over into his house and ran inside. So I left it at that and carried on playing my music. I should point out for the bougie people who are sitting there thinking, yeah, this antisocial, Nyabinghi black man, blah, 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 that I never play music past sort of 10, 11 o'clock. But I do watch videos past that time, and they are through more or less a hi-fi system, you'd have to say, for those of you who are not familiar with 5 to 1 surround systems. Anyway, so yeah, that was that. 2 2s now. I get a letter from the council to the occupier of my yard telling me that they've had a noise complaint, and you know, all the allegations and what can be done and what they can do, and the next stage is another strongly worded warning letter, as they put it, before it escalates further. So I wrote back to them anyway, telling them, you know, basically everything that I've told you in this video, and how these people have the temerity to even complain about me is unbelievable, because what I've put up with them over a period of like 7-8 years, nobody would put up with, except for a Rasta man like myself who doesn't deal with police and complaints. Now, where does the white privilege come in? Well, the white privilege comes in with the fact that when their world was a total sack of shit and they were fighting all the time, having issues with their children all the time, feds coming round all the time, they didn't look at me or even watch me or even hear me as a black man. As far as they were concerned, I'm cool because I never complained about them. So now they've gone away, they've done their time, they've come back, they've grown up a little, they've improved a little. The white privilege comes in that now they think that they can come and complain to me about the way I live, when I've never complained in all that time with the way they lived, and to involve the council as well. That is total white privilege, because what they're basically saying is, look, right, you know, we're white people and we lived next to you and everything was cool when we were totally dysfunctional and mad. But now we're getting ourselves together, right? You need to step in line as a black person, which is bullshit. That is white privilege, that they are able to think on that level. They've never apologized to me for all the disruption that they caused, or for feds coming knocking on my door on their behalf. Never apologized, never acknowledged anything, right? They're just looking at their situation now. They got a young youth and they feel my music's too loud for the youth to sleep, which is bullshit anyway. Such is white privilege. Bun that. Bun them too.